Hi there, welcome back to QSD. We got a bit of climate change for you today. I know you're going to love it. Do you believe germs are a primary cause of disease? Do you accept gravity as the current explanation for what attracts usually smaller objects to very massive objects? Do you accept the data that says that the globe, both land and sea, are seeing an average temperature rise? Do you accept the future scenarios that may accompany these temperature rises? Do you accept defeat, or are you always looking for more and more solutions and options? I know, I think the current climate is challenging for everyone, and if you want to move closer together rather than further away, you may want to keep watching for another string to your bow. And as always, at the end, I always stir in the pot in my own unique little way, so make sure you join in the debates. According to two separate studies presented at the annual convention of the American Psychological Association recently, having productive conversations about climate change isn't only challenging when dealing with skeptics and trolls. It can also be difficult even with like-minded environmentalists. Let's start with the first one though. This study found that reinforcing belief and trust in science may be a strategy to help shift the views of climate change skeptics and make them more open to the facts being presented by the other side. We know from previous research that there is an intrinsic social pressure to disbelieve in climate change, and this stems from the political right. We also know that for large swathes of conservatives, their trust in science has been somewhat eroded, often systematically through targeted misinformation, but eroded it still is. Robinson and her colleagues theorised that most people would find at least some branches of science credible. Leveraging those beliefs could lead climate skeptics to shift their views. So they created a study. The researchers surveyed nearly 700 participants from the US. Half were given surveys about their belief in science. For example, how credible is the medical data that germs are a primary cause of disease? And how certain are you that physicists' theory of gravity accurately explains why objects fall when dropped? And then questions on climate science, such as, how credible is the climate science data that temperatures are rising? And how certain are you that global warming explains many of the new weather patterns we are seeing today? The other half were only surveyed about their belief in climate science, and then all participants reported if they considered themselves to be politically liberal, moderate or conservative. As was expected, conservatives skewed more heavily for climate skeptic views. However, when the questions were preceded by other science-based questions, this showed a reduction. In essence, for climate skeptics, it likely became awkward to report on the survey that they believed in science while at the same time denying the findings of climate science. And so that dissonance led many to adjust their beliefs to show greater support for the existence of climate change. And more importantly, now we know that beliefs in climate science are malleable and not fixed, and we have a route map to open dialogue. It can almost seem that bipartisan progress on climate change has essentially come to a standstill because many conservatives doubt the findings of climate science, and many liberals cannot fathom that any rational human being can doubt the scientific consensus on the issue. We need to move beyond these entrenched and opposing perspectives as they do not create a starting point for productive conversations. Robinson concluded by adding, "We were pleasantly surprised that a brief 2-minute survey changed skeptics' views on climate change. It is exciting to know that in real-world settings we might be able to have more productive climate conversations by starting from a place of common belief." The second study showed that igniting a sense of resilience and perseverance can increase action and engagement around climate change. It included 203 science educators from zoos, aquariums and national parks who were part of a year-long communication training programme from the National Network of Ocean and Climate Change Interpretation. It was designed to build participants' confidence in talking about climate change, utilising study groups and assignments, readings and discussions and weekend retreats. They were then supported as they worked to integrate what they had learned into their jobs. This showed that the best received approaches were the ones focused on how to persevere and be resilient in the face of difficult climate change conversations, the ones that people usually shy away from because they don't have all the facts to hand. But how does all of this fit into the bigger picture? Well, first of all, if we stop voting brainless morons into high office, we might do better. But I digress. But no, really, where to start? This is such a massive topic, it is almost insurmountable, or so it seems. It scares the daylights out of many and has so much misinformation surrounding it, it is hardly surprising that most haven't got a clue. It was part of my core degree 30 years ago and it has only ever increased in importance since then. But as big as it is dwarfed by the societal issues and those that inflict their attacks on every aspect of society. Misinformation and the tyranny of awe. Now all you lovely people, I hope, prefer the pathway where you listen to opposing views based on fact and merit. But when you meet those who do not, remember, start with the basics. Germ theory and gravity. If they reject those, well, there's probably no hope. So just walk away. Am I wrong? All right. Am I left? All right. Are we allowed the middle ground anymore? Leave your thoughts, with evidence when required, down below. I shall see you later. Thanks for watching.